Welcome everyone to this exciting interview segment. Today we have the pleasure of sitting down with Oliver Rice, star of the movie A Cinderella Christmas Ball. Join us as we delve into Oliver's insights into his character and the challenges of filming this movie. Thank you for being here with us, Oliver.
Oh, thank you so much for having me.
It's a pleasure. So, can you tell us a little bit about your character in A Cinderella Christmas Ball?
Yeah, of course. So Cinderella Christmas Ball, it starts with a woman called Chelsea. She's a dance teacher, played by the wonderful Danica McKellar. And she lives in Chicago. She she was adopted and she has just found like a clue to who her birth father may be. And it's a photograph of her mum in a wedding dress. And all she knows is that it's outside a castle in a place called Havonshire. So she ends up on a plane, heads to Havonshire, and yeah, essentially she gets roped into teaching Prince Philip. Oh gosh, are we still here? I feel like I've
Yeah,
lost you.
yeah,
Oh, it's just my computer then. Yeah, let me see. Oh, there we are. I got you back. Um, she gets roped into teaching Prince Philip a dance, a very special dance, a waltz that he has to perform at a Christmas ball. And the significance of this waltz is that he will be dancing with all different royalty and dignitaries. And during the course of this ball, he will select who will be his wife and who will then become queen. Um, and yeah, and throughout all this, there's the mystery of discovering who is Chelsea's birth father. There's another really nice little subplot revolves around the innkeeper in Havonshire who is trying to adopt uh, two boys. Um, yeah, it's a really interesting feel good Christmas movie.
amazing. And what initially attracted you to your role in this movie?
Well, so yeah, I briefly mentioned that there is this waltz, and dance plays a really significant part in this film. That was co-written by Danica McKellar, who is herself an incredible dancer. She was on Dancing with the Stars 10 years ago, and I think that yeah, she really wanted to incorporate these waltzes into a movie. So she wrote this, and uh, yeah, when I was first sort of contacted about the job, it sounded really exciting. One of the things was they really wanted to have a dancer, and I'm not a dancer, not by any stretch. I love to dance, but I'm not a dancer. So
Okay.
um, there was a bit of back and forth there, and they asked me to do a little film myself doing a little dance, and they sent me the choreography. It was very simple. So I set up a tripod on my deck outside, and I live just by a trail where lots of people sort of walk their dogs. And so I was out there on my own dancing a little a little waltz. Uh, yeah, it was a little embarrassing, really. You know, I did well enough that they decided to give me the job. But then I had to, then Danica would send me these clips of her and her dance coach doing these fabulous waltzes that were the dances to be in the movie. And yeah, let me tell you, that was quite intimidating because I then, wow, so I'm going to be doing that, and there were lots of lifts and to my eyes, quite complicated dance moves. But I was super fortunate in that I had two amazing dance teachers. I live in Vancouver. We filmed in Ontario, so I spent like a month intensively learning these dances with Tony and Gloria, who are fantastic ballroom dancers that have competed at the World Championships. They're Canadian champions, and yeah, that was what really attracted me to this. So I got to learn to dance, with these incredible teachers. And then when we went, we spent a week in Ontario, Danica and I rehearsing the dances. which was really fortunate that we were able to have that time. Um, because oftentimes there's really very little rehearsal at all for these sorts of jobs. But we got a full week, and Gloria came out and she worked with us on that. And I had a dance double, a guy called Samuel Ramo, who is an Estonian dancer, fantastic. And so he helped as well in that rehearsal time, and it was so like comforting to have him there, to know that if I when it came to filming, if I was struggling, then he would be there to be the double. And he looked remarkably like me. It was kind of like looking in the mirror when I met him. Uh, but there was only one shot in the movie, one little, maybe 2 seconds of Samuel dancing. The rest is me, which I'm really proud of. I was able to sort of learn and pull it off. But yeah, any opportunity to learn something new is yeah, such a privilege and a treat. So I was really excited to get my dancing shoes on.
That's great. And
Yeah.
what do you think makes this movie so special and captivating?
Interesting. Well, um, it's got so much heart. There are sort of three major strands that get wrapped up at the end in a really heartwarming way. There's the plot line, the sort of romantic plot line between Chelsea and Prince Philip. There's Chelsea seeking to discover who her biological family is, and then there's Klaus, the innkeeper, who's hoping to adopt his boys. Um, these are subjects that I know are really important to Danica, who, as I say, wrote it. But I think they're just really important stories to highlight anyway, especially adoption, and there there are so many kids that need families, and especially I think that as kids get older and require them, that's a lot harder. So I think it's a lot harder for them to find loving homes. And so, any opportunity to sort of shine a light on that is really great. And I think that this film does that.
Yeah, great. And what was it like working with the rest of the cast and crew on set?
It was great. It was it was nice to go away. It was difficult. I was away from my family, and I have a 9-year old and a 2-year old and a wonderful partner, and that was tricky to be away. But at the same time, it can work in your favor to be uh, away from home and just living with the other cast and crew, and you do become it's a bit cliche, but like a family, and it's true. The cast was amazing. There were yes, it's quite a big ensemble cast. A really interesting acts, and oftentimes I film in Vancouver, and you get to know everybody. So it was nice to go to Ontario. I didn't really know anybody, so I got to make some great friends. Um, yeah, the sort of head butler, a character called James in the movie is played by Mark Cavan, who is British, but I think he sort of lives between the UK and North America. He's so funny. Like the character's funny. Every time on set, he would say anything, and it's not even that he has to say anything. Just a little look made me laugh so much. And he's had such an interesting career. I got to talk to him briefly because I only really found out at the last day that he'd worked with some of the greatest comedians in the UK back in the 90s. So it was really nice to pick his brain a little bit about that. And the crew was fantastic. Don McBrearty, the director, has been doing this for such a long time, has so much experience and interesting stories. Jonathan Yap, who's the DOP, is fantastic. And yet the whole crew was great. Really, really great. There's one scene that I really love in the film. There are a few dances, and there's one that comes at quite an emotional moment, and it's a waltz. And we rehearse, and then you shoot it in every different angle so that they can easily cut away. And, maybe we missed a step here, but they'll be able to pick that up in the edit. And it was in the final cut of the movie. It's just one take, which I feel really proud of, the fact that Danica and I managed to do that so perfectly in one take. But also the camera operator who was on a sort of handheld Ronin device. He just did such an incredible job capturing everything and moving with us. And um, it's a dance between two people, but it's also a dance between us and the camera operator and the focus puller. And it's we're all in that dance together. So I think, yeah, it was a fantastic experience working with a great cast and crew, and all the producers and everyone that's involved further up the line. Just made it a really a supportive experience.
Really interesting. So,
Mhm.
what can you tease about your character journey?
Um, yeah, it's quite interesting, really. So I think sometimes it can be quite hard to relate to people that live such different life. Like, how do I come from pretty standard working class, middle class background in the UK. How do you relate to someone that is born into royalty? Um, but I think this character he's facing so much pressure to make his parents proud, to follow in their footsteps. He has to find the queen is getting older. His father, as the king, has died, and so he knows that he's about to take over as the king. And how does that sort of weight of responsibility impact him? Um, so yeah, so he goes, he has quite a journey, and then also everything's sort of been set out for him for his whole life. There's this like kind of linear course. This is, you're a prince, you're going to do this, and then eventually you're going to end up here. And then he has doubts about himself, and about the whole system. And then so how does he navigate that? And this outside influence, Chelsea, the American dance instructor, she has such a huge impact on him. Um, yeah, where does it go? How does it end? Uh, yeah, it was an interesting character to get stuck into.
Great. So, the last question about this movie. What was your favorite scene or moment while filming it?
Definitely the dances, and I think probably there's a big dance that the whole film sort of leads up to. It's the dance that Chelsea's been teaching uh, the prince, and we filmed that on the very first day. It was sort of the first thing that we filmed, and we just had a week of intensive rehearsal. It was something I was super nervous about, and there's a lot of people there, a lot of background artists, um, a big crew in a beautiful big set, location, and yeah, it was intimidating, it's scary, and and then we did it, and it felt fantastic. I think especially doing it first up increased the nerves, but increased the excitement, and it went so well, which I think set us on a good path for filming the rest of the movie. So yeah, I really enjoyed doing that.
Great. So, change of subject.
Hmm.
Talking about your career in general, but in particular some TV series that we had survival shows follow. Can you tell us a little bit about your experience in the TV series Firefly Lane and Riverdale?
Yeah, of course. They were both really exciting projects. I was very happy to be a part of. Yeah, Firefly Lane. It was kind of interesting for me. I came on board quite late in the process. Normally, you have a little bit of lead in time when you get cast in something, but that one I was filming something else. I think I might have been filming Riverdale at the same time. And then yeah, I had and a couple of days, if that, before I started on Firefly Lane. So I went in a little bit blind, which can maybe that was a good thing. Um, but I had so much fun. It was, my storyline. So Firefly Lane, it's three different time periods that it's set in. Um, Kate and Tully in their three stages of their lives. And I was in the 80s, which was fantastic. Like the costumes were amazing. And, we had scenes in bars and clubs and, the music I love, uh, all of the hairstyles and the wardrobe. Um, and yeah, it was nice. It was such a beautiful show. I really enjoyed watching it. And it was kind of nice to be, the 80s was like the fun time. And there was some really deep, emotional, impactful moments, more so in the later, and some in the early, but more so in the later time uh, period. But we got to have a lot of fun. And we did. Like everyone on that show was so much fun. It was really, yeah, I enjoyed that a lot. And
Great.
Riverdale, I got to play the devil, so like that's pretty fun and a big, departure from some of the other things that I've done. I've done a few of the sort of Christmas movies and those sorts of rom-coms. So getting to play the devil was a lot of fun, and it, the first episode that I did of that um was called Mr. Cypher, and I played Loose Cypher, and so I got to go in and really mess with all of the characters, um, which was great. Just being so devious and conniving, and at the same time charming, and getting them all to sign away their souls uh, was a lot of fun.
Great. So, as a fan of Chesapeake Shore, I have to talk about it in this interview. Can you
Yeah,
tell us about your favorite memories in Chesapeake Shores?
yeah. I mean, that was a few years ago now. Um, my memories of that. So that was filmed on Vancouver Island, which is a short seaplane ride away from Vancouver. What my enduring memories of that is just getting to go and spend time on this beautiful island, um, staying in an amazing place where a lot of the crew were staying as well. So just making friends, making great friends on that show, and I'm still in touch with a fair few of the guys from that. Yeah, it was just so much fun. Beautiful locations, getting to make a series with great friends. Um, yeah, it was really a great time, and working with some incredible actors, Diane Ladd and Treat Williams, Barbara Niven, and then I got to work with Amelia Ullerup a lot, who played Brie, and she's fantastic. That was just a joy to get to work with her, and then Carlo Marx, who I haven't seen him in a while, but we're good friends, and Britt Irvin is a very good friend of mine. So and, I met them all on that show, so that was really great, really fantastic.
Amazing.
What was your favorite memory of Chesapeake Shores?
Ooh, too many. Too many. I like all the daughters and all the sons. I love all the storylines in that, and I like that it's a family show, so there is a storyline for the children, I like to say, and
Mhm.
for the parents too. So it's a choral story. It's not a rom-com as a teen drama but it's all in one.
Yeah, yeah. Who was your favorite O'Brien? Like, who did you relate to?
Abby.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, Abby. I like her.
yeah. I really liked her storylines, actually. Um, yeah, and I think she did it so well. it was interesting seeing her relationship in the first couple of seasons um, with her ex-husband and how the challenges of co-parenting and then finding new love after the breakup of a marriage was really excellent and well done.
Exactly. And then
Hmm.
arrive at the final season, arrive, who? I don't remember the name. Um, I'm thinking of Clay Evans, but is the the character of the actor on One Reel, and uh, I don't remember the name. I'm sorry. At the end of the season, uh,
Yep.
the character of Jesse goes
Yep.
away, and it arrives this new character in town, and it were fun.
Mm.
I don't remember now. Robert Buckley.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and they is really fun.
Yeah. 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 He was a great addition to that. I'd left by that stage. Simon Atwater had departed Chesapeake Shores by that stage.
You know him from Hallmark World, I think.
I don't actually know. I'm very aware of his work, but I don't know him myself. Not had the opportunity to work with him.
Okay, great. So, another question.
Hmm.
My favorite TV show ever is Once Upon a Time.
Right. Yeah.
And I know you have a little guest in the beginning of season 4. What can
Yes.
you tell about this show?
Yeah. That was so fun. I got to play Anna and Elsa's dad. Um, very briefly on the ship before it went down. Uh, yeah, that was a really an experience that I'd never done anything like that. So it was in the studio. It was filmed in Vancouver, and when I went in, they said you're going to be on a ship, and it's going to be in a storm, and we're going to film. It's kind of on hydraulics, so it's going to move around a bit, and there's going to be a bit of water. Would you like to put a wetsuit on underneath your costume, which was very, regal costume? And I was like, and it was in the middle of the summer. So I remember it was like 35 degrees. I was super hot. I was like, no, 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 I'm fine. I'll be all right. And then I went into the studio and there was this huge ship and like green screen, but massive ship. Oh, wow. Okay. And then once we started filming, there was water coming from everywhere. There were these guys on these huge machines that would press buttons and then it would fire gallons of water. And it was intense, but it was super fun. But I realized if someone offers you a wetsuit and you're going to be around water, always say yes. Because despite the fact it was 35 degrees outside, the water was freezing. And it was, I think, only filmed for one day for that show, but it was a long day. It was like 14, 15 hours. And I was soaking wet the whole time, freezing cold. And between takes, I would just go to the big doors of the studio and burst through and just lie down on the concrete that was hot and just try and get warm, and then go back in and shoot it again. Yeah, it was a wild experience for me that one day. It was crazy, but yeah, lots of fun and something that not I've not worked in a studio of that scale um, on anything before or since. I don't think. It was great and a great show. What a great show! What was your favorite season of Once Upon a Time? Which sort of storyline?
uh, I liked the Arendelle storyline. I
Hmm.
liked it a lot.
Yeah.
And I liked that season too because it's the beginning of of Captain Swan. And for the storyline in general, I think the season 5, where the Camelot storyline, and
Yes.
Emma is the Dark One, and
Yeah, I was a little bit upset to be honest with you because I'd already done it, and then they had the Camelot storyline, and I couldn't be up for that or audition for it or doing it because I'd already played
Yeah.
uh, the King of Arundel. So I was like, oh, I kind of got burnt on the show by doing that when that Camelot storyline would have been great.
Yeah, exactly. So, change of subject again. Talking
Hmm.
about your career in general. What have been some of the most memorable projects you have worked on your career and why?
Hmm. Okay, interesting. I think you've mentioned a couple like Firefly Lane and Riverdale. I really enjoyed, and I was working on those sort of concurrently at the same time. So that was a kind of exciting thing for me to jump from one character one week to the next character the other week. Um, and they're great shows and they're big shows, and I really enjoyed those. I did a show that I think it was so good. It was on CBC in Canada and Netflix around the world. It's called Fakes. Um, and I just thought it was so well written and so well made. Unfortunately, it only had one season. Um, but I got to play a really nasty gangster in that, and the way it was filmed, I was able to improvise quite a lot and play around with it. There was a lot of sort of freedom to do that, which I really enjoyed. Um, and yeah, I think it's still on Netflix. So Fakes, it's so fun. Um, I really enjoyed that, and I really like. I started out. I went to the Oxford School of Drama a long time ago now, and had quite a classical training in acting, and worked primarily in the theatre in the UK and in Europe before I moved to North America. And I love working in the theatre. I love it so much. There's not so much of it to do here, um, but I have done a bit. I did an amazing play at the Arts Club Theatre in Vancouver. It was called King Charles III, and it was written by a guy called Mike Bartlett long before Prince Charles became King Charles. But the idea of it was written like a Shakespeare play. What would happen when Queen Elizabeth II dies and Prince Charles becomes King Charles? And I played Prince William, which was great fun. And but it was remarkable how like prophetic the play is, because some of the things that have happened in real life were totally predicted by Mike Bartlett in the play, such as Prince Harry leaving the royal family, meeting someone, a person of color, and saying, I want to, I don't want to be in the royal family anymore," and that's totally happened. But yeah, that was, I hadn't done theatre for so long, that getting to be back in the theatre, that was a really special sort of project that I worked on.
Yeah, great. So,
And of course, A Cinderella Christmas Ball. That is, was such a big, exciting project to work on, and it's going to be airing on the 29th of November on Great American Family. So that's exciting.
yeah, exactly. So,
Hmm.
a quick question. As Survivor shows, we are big fans of Christmas rom-com.
Hmm.
What is your all-time favorite?
My all-time favorite. Well, I mean, Christmas films in general. Probably the one that I watch the most is Elf, because my son loves it and I love it. And we saw a musical at the theatre, the Elf musical last year, which was amazing. So yeah, Elf. But like, definitely not a Christmas rom-com, but I am into Die Hard as a Christmas movie.
We can call Elf Christmas rom-com.
There's romance and definitely comedy.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a rom-com.
Yeah, great.
Mhm.
So, the last question. Can you tease something about your next projects?
Well, not really. Not really. There's some like what do you say? Fires in the oven. That's not the saying, is it? Um, things that may happen or may not. I can't really
Oh,
divulge now, but when they do, I will make sure you find out on social media and things. But yeah,
okay, great. So good luck
thank you.
the future. And so this is it. Make sure, all of you, to coach a Cinderella Christmas Ball on Great American Christmas this Friday night.
Yeah, Great American Family. The day after Thanksgiving, American Thanksgiving. So perfect time to get into the Christmas spirit.
Yeah, exactly. And thank you, Oliver, to join us today. It's been a pleasure.
Thanks so much for having me.
And thank you all for watching. Bye!
Cheers.